The Dynasty rookie season is finally over, and we're starting to put together our lineups for the coming NFL season. A lot of our teams might be lacking a few flex spots, and we don't know what to do with them. But in this video, we're going to tell you some cheap and expensive players that could help win you your leagues because of their upside that they possess. We're going to give you cheap ones, an intermediate one, and some expensive ones, depending on your price range. All of them we think are good buys if you want to try to win your league. So, Dak, who's our first buy?
Our first buy, this is going to be like an intermediate kind of guy, is Mike Evans. Not really valued too highly right now. I think you can probably get him for a mid, maybe early second, depending on how owner might value him. This is a guy, he's produced his entire career. He's always had 1,000 yard seasons. We all know what the deal is with Mike Evans. He hasn't shown any signs of falling off. Even with Baker Mayfield, he produced like wide receiver one this past season. Nothing's changed. It's the same offense pretty much, same cast of characters, and we think that Mike Evans is going to produce once again. This is a guy, he's going to be a wide receiver one. You're going to really value those points in your lineup when he's getting like 16, 17, 18 points per game every week. And again, he's kind of cheap. Like people aren't valuing him as a first just because of his age. But if you're going all in on winning a championship, his age doesn't really matter. You want those points. You're kind of valuing it, treating it more like a redraft league.
Mm-hmm.
You want a guy like Mike Evans on your team who you know is going to be very solid week in and week out. And he's going to help you win a championship. Just again, like we've said, he's going to score a ton of points. He's going to be the top target getter in that offense. He's produced his entire career. He's still an elite wide receiver, and we think he's going to continue that this season. So we're definitely adding him if we're making a push for a championship.
So our next player is going to be more of a cheaper buy, and it's going to be Derrick Henry. He got traded to the Ravens, which is a pretty exciting landing spot. But Henry is so old, and people have been preying on his downfall, waiting for his knees to break for years, and it just hasn't happened yet. He has slowed down a little bit, and because of that, and because of his age, we think you can get Henry for a mid second, probably. I'd be willing to send a mid second, mid to late second. And Henry just has upside, right? The Baltimore Ravens offense is so good, and they're going to pound that rock. And Henry has upside for 20 touchdowns. That's not an exaggeration. I'm pretty sure he's done that before. If not, he's been close. And now he's in a much better offense than he's ever been in with Lamar Jackson being the quarterback. So take pressure off of him to be the focal point of the offense. Lamar Jackson's the focal point of the offense, right? Derrick Henry is the secondary option there, and that's just going to give him so much opportunity to score touchdowns, which is what he's so good at. Like I said, mid to late second. I'd be okay paying a mid second. We think Derrick Henry. What do you think it'd be? RB1, like low in RB1 this year?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very cheap for an RB1. Going to get you 16 points per game, which is exactly what we're looking for in these league-winning players, and has upside to be 18 points per game if you see some vintage Derrick Henry. So, Dak, who's our next player?
Yeah, next guy, another cheap running back veteran that's not going to cost you a ton to get on your team. It's going to be Alvin Kamara. Quietly had a running back one season in New Orleans this past year. He was suspended those first 3, 4 games because of an incident, and then he came out and he produced like the old Alvin Kamara that we know, and he still has that potential. I think nothing's really changed. If he's able to produce the way he has with Derek Carr in that offense, I think there's no reason to expect that he won't do it again. They still have him on a big contract. They're going to make him the focal point of that offense. It's still Kendrick Miller as the only competition in that backfield, and maybe Jamal Williams. Like, there's nothing stopping Alvin
Yeah.
Kamara from averaging, once again, like the 16, 17, 18 points per game. You're locking that into your lineup. If you're just sending a mid to late second, you can probably get him for that price point. And that mid to late second isn't helping you win a championship. Alvin Kamara will help you win a championship.
Exactly. Yep.
So again, if you're making that push, you want a guy like Alvin Kamara. You can put him in your lineup and you know he's scoring a ton of points week in, week out. You feel very good about that, and you know that second that you gave away wasn't going to help you win a championship. Alvin Kamara will.
Yeah, and especially those last three guys who are a little bit older, if you can go to a team that you think might be entering a rebuild, maybe you can talk them into rebuilding. Be like, hey man, your team sucks. You should rebuild. And then you buy those players from them. They're not going to want them, right? So you can get those players with a slight discount. And that's what we're looking to do. We're getting these players for cheap because they are old and frugal. Now, these last three players, a little younger, right? So it's going to be a little more expensive, but we think they're going to have huge monster seasons, better than any season they've ever had before. And our first one here is going to be Dalton Kincaid. The Bills have no one to throw the ball to. They really don't. I think Kincaid's probably their best weapon they have right now, maybe him or James Cook. And Kincaid's definitely going to be the better pass catcher of those. So we think Kincaid could turn into the next Travis Kelsey. We were just joking about that, but we do think it could seriously happen. If not, he'd be Travis Kelsey light, which is still a very good tight end. I will preface this with saying we're only buying him in tight end premiums,
Yeah.
preferably 1.75 or higher tight end premiums, but we're buying Dalton Kincaid in those leagues. We think he could average, what, 16, 17, 18 points per game this year, I wouldn't be
At
surprised.
least.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute stud. Josh Allen's going to score points. The Bills are going to score points. And who's going to catch those balls?
Dalton.
Dalton Kincaid. They have no, like they have nothing at wide receiver. Someone's got to catch those balls, and it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. He's going to be absolutely fantastic for your teams. I would pay a mid 25 first for a mid to late 25 first, and
Definitely.
happily send that away. If they want more than that, I would even add a second on top of that, and I wouldn't be too mad about it. Go get Dalton Kincaid. He's going to score points. And he's going to be good for the future too. So it's not just a buy now piece. He's a altogether piece. Dak, who we got next?
Yeah, our next guy on this list is going to be Garrett Wilson. We've talked about him in other videos. He hasn't produced the way that you would expect him to, given his talent the first couple years. That's because he's been stuck with guys like Zach Wilson, other trash cans at quarterback. Now he's got Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks of all time throwing him the football, at least for this year, maybe next year. We really only care about this year specifically. That's what the video is geared to. And we think Garrett Wilson can make a run at that wide receiver one finish this year. He has the talent, and Aaron Rodgers is going to target him so much every week. We know Aaron Rodgers likes to target proven guys that he just trusts, and he's going to trust Garrett Wilson immensely. He loves Garrett Wilson. They have a great connection already. We just haven't seen it play out on the football field. I think that connection is just going to be lethal week in and week out, and you could get him from a manager that doesn't value him the way that we think he should be valued. They look at his sleeper thing, and they see wide receiver 21, wide receiver 26 finishes, and they're like, yeah, he's very good, but not a league winner type of guy. And Garrett Wilson has the talent. He's in the situation. He definitely will be that this year. We're super high on Garrett Wilson. If you can get him for like a mid, maybe even early first, I would pay a lot to get a guy like Garrett Wilson, but I think it will pay off for you in the end.
Multiple first. I'd be okay sending two, not high end first, but two mid first.
Yeah.
Send him away. Garrett Wilson's going to be an absolute stud, and we could see him joining our S tier wide receivers very easily. No one has had more targets through their first 2 seasons in the NFL than Garrett Wilson. He's that good. Yeah. Our last player is going to be Breece Hall. We're staying with the Jets. We think the Jets are going to be so good this year. Yeah. Breece Hall has been an absolute stud at the running back position, and he has never had a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. It's insane. Offensive line got better. The quarterback went from the worst in the league to a top 5 probably quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, absolute stud quarterback, obviously. The offense is going to be so good. Breece Hall had like 1 carry inside the 3 last year, or some inside the 3-yard line last year. He's going to have probably 20 this year. He's going to be so good. He's going to score so many touchdowns. He was like RB2 last year with just a trash can of an offense. And now they're going to have one of the best offenses in the league with these just amazing players. I think Breece Hall could push for like 22, 23 fantasy points per game, which would be one of the best fantasy seasons of all time. I'm thinking like prime Christian McCaffrey level numbers, and I'm not exaggerating. He can catch the ball better than almost anyone in the league. He's one of the best pure runners in the league, and he's fantastic at getting in the end zone. There's nothing Breece Hall can't do except for Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. That's what's going to hold him back, right? So go buy Breece Hall. I think if you can trade 2 firsts, just like Garrett Wilson, like that's his full price. But if you are going to be a contender and you want to score points and you want someone that can absolutely just win you your league, think Christian McCaffrey last year, think Tyreek Hill last year, CeeDee Lamb last year. That's what Breece Hall can do for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.